Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar called Your Body, Your Swing. As always, these webinars are brought to you by Medicus Golf and Pure Strike 5 Simple Keys to Consistency. Again, we're here at the beautiful Tiffany Greens Golf Club in Kansas City, Missouri, which is where we base our teaching out of here. And we're going to talk about some things that you can do to kind of tell you how you should be swinging versus how you think you should be swinging. So we're going to do a couple of things, and I'd like for you all to stand up. We're going to do some of these exercises together to give us a little more information about your physical makeup. Now, you've all heard me say many times that if you're built like Craig Stadler, it's hard to swing like David Love, and vice versa. Well, there's some other pieces that go to that. So I'd like for you to stand up, spread your arms up so that your palms are face down, and then rotate your arms upward. Now, if your palms face the sky, you should have no trouble with your club face working this direction, which would be the leading edge vertical to the ground once you get over to here. If your palms cannot do that, let's say they can only turn this far, that means that when you get to this location over here, your club face is not going to be face up. It's going to be more of a 45-degree angle. So it'd be one thing. Now, and again, there are variations to this. This is just a generality. I'm going to have you lock your fingers, put them high above your head, and reach up. And if you have a mirror, look in the mirror and see where your palms are facing. If your palms, again, are facing straight up, that goes with this exercise. All right, so I'm going to tell you your flexibility length. All right, and how far back you can move your arms. The next one we're going to do is I'm going to have you get set, kind of cross your arms, and then take your belly button or your belt buckle and try to pull your hips up and forward without doing this. So stay in posture, pull it up and forward. If you can feel a shake right down in here, 9 times out of 10 what's going to happen is in the downswing, your hips are going to rotate upward and toward the golf ball this way, which we refer to as early extension. What that tells you, however, is you have a weak mid-core and a weak lower back, and there's exercises you can do to strengthen those up, and I would suggest you see your physio, the person you work with for your strength and conditioning. The next one, we're going to take your right hand or trail hand, put it behind so the back of the hands are facing and underneath the left hand. So it looks like this. Right hand's going underneath. From there, get in your golf posture. Without moving your shoulders, I want you to move your arms. Now, my arms moved just like this, which means if I had a club in my hand, that's where they would go. And from here, my swing plane would now gravitate upward. Okay? If my hands went like this to the side, and you'll see it from this angle, okay, this way, then that would mean that this is what it will look like when I take the club away, and now my plane is going to be even steeper. If my hands, again, not moving your shoulders, move out and away from me like this, that means out and away would be this, and your swing plane would be more around. So that's kind of your back swing plane. And again, those are generalities because we can surely make changes within those. And some of these things, my good friend Mike Adams and E.A. Tischler, they talk about it a lot when they're looking at player swing planes because we all think we have to do certain things. We all think that when we get to here, this club head should be level and parallel to the ground with the toe up. That's not the case unless your hands do that in the backswing. That little drill we just did. If your hands have a tendency to stay out more, then the club head would be outside your hands before it travels upward. Now we're going to take that same motion, right hand underneath the left, and I'll do it from this angle here so you can see it. Now I want you to make a backswing, taking your arms to the top. That pretty much tells you the length of your backswing. So if you can't get your hands anymore without either breaking this left arm down or raising upward, then that tells you you're exceeding your flexibility. So again, you want to look at these things and tie these in. What are your hands doing? What is the length of your flexibility? For those of you that lack a little flexibility between the upper and the lower, and this is the next exercise actually, and then we'll go ahead, I'll show you the next one after that. If I stayed right here, now I want you to keep your upper firm, but turn your lower. So from this angle, it looks like this. Okay. Now we're going to keep the lower, turn the upper against the lower. All right, so we need to be able to separate those two. Some people do it to a bigger degree than others. So if I sit in this chair, I just put this club across my chest, and I turn away from the golf ball. You can allow your lower body to move a little bit. This, if you don't have a lot of flexibility, this is a great drill to do, to turn back and to turn through. Turn back and turn through. You can also do this one from on the ground. Just get on your knees, put the club across your shoulders, turn again. This one will give you a more representative look of how far your chest or upper body can turn in the backswing. Back, through. It's not necessary to have a 90-degree shoulder turn. Some people just aren't built that way. We hear a lot of things about how the hips move. So again, if I stood like this and I put my hands right here on my knees, and now I just turn my hips in a backswing, in a three swing, and try to keep my shoulders as square as possible, you'll find out that you either turn more onto the right hip, turn more on the left hip, or stay in the center. I turn a little more in the center, even though I'm getting a lot of pressure in this trail foot. So don't think that you have to turn like this. This isn't a turn. This is not a weight shift. This is just moving your body off the golf ball. So in the words of Homer Kelly, he talked about the free turn in both directions of the hips. What that allows you to do, if I put this on my hip line right now, I'll do it this way, it's a better angle. And you don't want to turn your hips level. See, that's my whole upper body moving over to the right. What I want to do, whether I'm going to stay in the middle, turn on this hip or turn on this hip, is as my hip is turning, it's also going to, my right hip is going to slant upward as I turn. Now I have a lot of pressure in this right foot, okay, but you can see my hip slant is going, let me get this out of the way of the chair, there we go. My hip slant is going upward. If you try to turn too level, you lose all your posture. So as your hip slant is going upward, that also makes you lose some of the flex in your right knee. Now, at the same time, when I come down the other way, okay, when I'm up here and I start coming downward, I'm going to shift some pressure to my lead foot before I get to the top of the backswing. And from there, I'm going to take this left hip, I'm going to pull it upward and inward, which again slants the hip and takes the flex, or starts to take the flex, out of the left leg, left knee. So your body will tell you what you can and can't do. For instance, we did this last week when we were talking about the plane. I'm going to talk about this again. So let's say in my downswing plane, I think that I have to move the club more way to the right. So in order to do that, that means that my lower core is going to fire forward, more towards, if this is home plate, let's say this is second base out here, first place, 12 o'clock if you want to use that, then my hips are going to fire more towards 10 o'clock. That's going to put the club back in this area for delivery, which means now I have to fire way outward. Those of you that we did the posture drill when I said pull this forward, and if you feel any shaking, the chances are you're going to go like that. That's pretty much what your club is going to do. It's going to go like that, which makes you lose your posture and the club fire out to the right. Now if I use my mid-core, then as I start with the mid-core, you'll see how the plane comes out a little bit different location. Okay? It's actually going to come out more where my right forearm is, like this. That's using the mid-core. And then if I use the upper core, which is my chest, and I make that same move, now you see the club comes out more in line with my left arm. So a little bit steeper angle of attack. Those are all determined by how the pieces of your body move. So again, lower core players have a tendency to shoot it off to the right. Mid-core players will get it more down on what we call their right forearm. And upper core players are still going to shift your weight. They're going to feel more pressure moving to the left. It's actually pressure, not weight, but in the golf vernacular, most people understand weight shift. They don't understand pressure shift. So I've already got pressure loading into my back foot in the backswing, and as I get to the top, I'm going to start shifting my pressure to the left foot. So in slow motion, it kind of goes like that. Now from here, I've got to determine, am I going to go this way, or this way? And again, that has to do a lot with your downswing plane angle. So typically, people that arms are longer from the elbow to the knuckle, then from the elbow to the shoulder, are going to swing down on one of those steeper planes, okay? In golf, we refer to it as a shoulder plane. We're going to swing it down, and that shoulder plane extends from the top of the shoulder to the armpit, not the neck. Okay, the top of the shoulder to the armpit, and boom, right into impact. So again, your body's going to tell you, if you do this little simple test we just did, how you really need to swing a club. Because if I'm supposed to be swinging down on a steeper plane, according to my body, but I've been trying to swing on a shallower plane, I won't have nearly as much success, and I'll have to work a lot harder to get that done. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me. Again, remember, you want to take your body, let your body dictate how you're going to swing. So I want to thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week.